Hi guys. So a little break from 1984 today. I need a little break from that book, I'd say. And if you finished it, you probably agree. So we're going to do a little bit with grammar and composition today, and I want to start doing this as we get toward the end of the year. So I'm pulling from a book called The Elements of Style by Strunk and White. Um, I would highly recommend getting a copy of it before you go off to college if that's what you're doing. And we're going to go through some principles from this book together. And the way the book is set up is rules of usage and then rules for style or matters of style. And usage is more strictly speaking grammar, the way you normally think about it. So that's what we're going to start with. Okay, and so I'm going to go through Strunk and White's rules 1 and 2 here today, and then the homework will be some questions regarding these. So number 1, form the possessive singular of nouns by adding apostrophe s. And let's back up. So if you think you know this, that's great, but there's probably some things regarding possessives that you're not so sure about too. So don't be above these rules, I guess is what I'm saying, because students, even college students and adults, mess these things up all the time. So let's just try to learn from them. Okay, so, and here's the big thing that might be news. The final consonant doesn't matter normally with this rule. So with a name like Charles that ends in an S, you add apostrophe S, not just an apostrophe. So it's Charles is blind, Miss Rogers' class, S apostrophe S, right? And the witch's broom, things like that. Doesn't matter what the final consonant is, add apostrophe S. Now, certain ancient proper names ending in ES or IS can be an exception. And the main one you should know is Jesus's name. Okay, you can add apostrophe on its own with the name of the Lord. Okay, so Moses and Isis, again, ancient names ending in ES or IS. These would just get an apostrophe, but something like Moses's laws or Isis's temple would be better written as the laws of Moses or the temple of Isis. Makes sense? So with a genitive construction, with the preposition of would be neater, more elegant, more distinguished. Okay, pronomial possessives. So pronomial means relating to pronouns. So pronomial possessives are things like hers, its, theirs, his, yours, these kinds of things. These do not have an apostrophe. And I'm sure you know that. Indefinite pronouns, however, do. So indefinite means we're not defining exactly who we're talking about. So like if you say something like one's thoughts, going to use an apostrophe. Somebody else's house, okay, apostrophe. And last one here, so it's with an apostrophe versus it's with no apostrophe. Should not get this confused. It's a really, really bad thing to mess up. So it's with an apostrophe is a contraction, meaning it is. No apostrophe is the possessive pronoun. Here's an example sentence. It's not right for a company to underpay its employees. This first one is a contraction. It is not right for the company to underpay its employees, possessive. Okay, and then the second rule here, in a series of 3 or more terms with a single conjunction, use a comma after each term except the last. Okay, this can be like a list with single nouns or like a compound sentence with 3 clauses. It doesn't matter. Any series with 3 or more terms. And terms here means parts of the series. So red, white, and blue, for example. Comma after every term except the last. So that third term is probably going to have some kind of a conjunction with it. You can omit the comma after the conjunction, like in water, coffee, or tea. These aren't single nouns. This is a compound sentence. He uncorked the bottle, comma, held it out to the customer, comma, and poured a glass. Okay, and there's a parallel structure going on here too. So he uncorked, that's our main clause. What does he uncork? The bottle, held it out. Now we have the same construction, subject, verb, object. Here we have verb held. It is a pronoun referring to the bottle, so subject or verb object. And poured a glass departs from that, but that's okay. That third comma is known as the Oxford comma. You might have heard that term. And this is a stylistic choice, I guess. So strictly speaking, you can omit the Oxford comma before the final conjunction in a series of 3 terms. So I am a student, a teacher, and a husband, with a comma only after the first term. You can do that. You can do that. If you're unsure, however, I would just recommend using the Oxford comma all the time. So, like when I try to make this choice, there are times when it makes sense to use the Oxford comma, and times when it doesn't. It's a kind of a feel thing. It's a style thing. Again, if you're not confident in making those choices, I would just use it all the time. It's probably what most people do and what most people are used to seeing. And last thing here today, so some business names will leave the Oxford comma out. So like Little, Brown and Company, Donaldson, Lufkin, and Jenrette. So if you're having to write the name of a business or anything like that, any firm with 3 terms in the name, just follow whatever they use, okay, whatever's on the sign. And that's the first 2 rules. Now your homework, I'm giving you sentences and they all have one or more mistake in them. It's just a couple. I simply want you to rewrite the sentence, write the whole thing out, type it out. It takes not very long, and correct it. Okay, so they all feature mistakes dealing with those 2 rules. And don't forget, tomorrow at 9:30 is when we meet. We're gonna have a live Zoom class. We'll cover this homework, talk about where we're going with 1984, and then also about senior theses. So I learned some things about how that's going to work, so we can cover some of that tomorrow. So we'll see you then.